Hi folks, Eddie Carey here. You're listening to Seamus Long on Irish Country Music Radio.
You're my lady, the one true love that I have ever known, the one true love that I have ever known.
There you have it. That is, of course, Limerick You're a Lady, and yes, it was sung by a Limerick man himself, Mr. Eddie Carey. And Eddie, how are you going on? You're very well.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me on anyway, first of all. It's great to be talking to someone so famous. So I remember meeting you a couple of years ago. I think it was in Roscrea or somewhere I met you.
Yeah.
You were up doing a show. I think it was for Carey or someone like that. You were
Yeah,
up there
yeah.
one time doing, and I remember seeing you, and I tell you, face I never forget. you had the whole place cracking. So yeah. How are you keeping?
Not too bad. I have a face for radio. Is that what you're saying?
Well, if you want to put it that way.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I remember meeting you myself anyway, because you're a fair man with the singing. As you just been proved there with that, your version of Limerick You're a Lady, of course. And you're a Limerick man. What part of Limerick is it you're from, Eddie?
I'm from Newcastle West, County Limerick. So I was born and raised in Newcastle West in County Limerick. So I've been there all my life. I did a bit of travelling. I've kind of travelled everywhere, being honest about it. But that's where I was raised and born in Newcastle West.
And what was it that got the like of a young fella in Newcastle West to start into the music scene, or at what age did the fascination with getting up on the stage hit you?
Well, I tell you, I started, my dad brought up 11 of us. So he did. There was 11 of us in the family. He brought up 11 of us. My mother passed away when I was 5. And my dad was a truck driver, but he also used to write music, write songs and stuff as well. He was involved with Sandy Shore and Puppet on a String with Phil Coulter that time.
Oh, God.
He used to work in Shepperton Studios in the UK.
Yeah.
So he was the man that got me into the music. He played guitar and he was always around the house singing. I suppose anything to keep us entertained after my mum passed away, because as I said, like she was the one that was keeping the house together when he was away working, you know. So yeah, he was a great man. He gave up his job then and he stayed at home with us to look after us. I was the youngest out of 11, so I was only 5 when my mum passed away. And he gave up everything, gave up all his job, gave up everything and looked after 11 of us. And we're all grown up now, as the man said. And my dad actually passed away this year as well. He passed away the 23rd of February. So he passed away as well. But yeah, he was the man that got me started in the music business. So that was the man.
Well, I'll tell you this much, he did a great job. And to raise 11, like, I mean, it's usually, you know what I mean, it's not, and this is not being said in any sort of a misogynistic way or anything, but, like, women are so much better at that job. Like, for a man to be able to take that on and to just take on rearing 11 and to do such a great job of it. Like,
that's it. Like, none of us, being honest, I think I'm the only fella that went into the pubs because I was playing music and stuff like that and out to dance hall. None of my brothers or sisters drink or smoke or anything like that, you know. We were all brought up, well, there's nothing wrong with drinking and smoking, don't get me wrong, but like none of us went down that road, you know. All of us have our own businesses. All of us like did whatever we needed to do, you know. He was beside us 24/7, 7 days a week. Anything we needed, we could ring him day or night, you know. He was there for us. Like, he was proud of every one of us, and like, we were, of course, like, we were privileged to have a father like that, being honest about it.
Well, I tell you, he sounds like he must have had a sort of when he'd opened the shirt, there was a great big S on his vest. Like, yeah. I mean, he sounds like some sort of a Superman with the sound of things, yeah.
Yeah, that was it. Like, as I said to you, look, you know yourself, it's hard. Like, even if someone has 1 or 2 kids there, and, like, they have to keep working and stuff like that, he gave up everything for us, you know. And as I said, me being the youngest, he stood by me. I was with him most, being honest about it, even up through school and stuff like that, like with the music and stuff. I got my first break, I suppose it was 7 or 8 when I got my first break. We did Garth Brooks tribute act, and I was invited down to the Rackhill House, not too far from Newcastle West, and they had a big venue down there. Actually, Nationwide was down there that night. So they were. And I got invited down by Nationwide to come up and just sing one song. So I sang that. So from there on then, as the man said, I got the bug then. That was it. When I admitted I got the bug, I was up playing and singing. Any chance that I could get out doing it, I just love it, you know. And it's nice to get out and meet people. As I said, it's people don't understand, like people not in the music business would never understand it, because when you're out there and entertaining people, you're taking the stress of life like away from people for the 2 hours that you're out there gigging with. Like, it's not a job. It's you're getting paid for what you love. Simple as that. You know, you'll never find a job like that again.
No, it is a fair job. And I'm just thinking, like, I mean, if a 7-year-old chap and his first big break comes on primetime television, you know what I mean? Because anyone that's listening in from across the water, and I know we have a lot of overseas listeners as well as the Irish listeners. Nationwide is a TV show that goes out every evening at 7 o'clock on Irish television, and it takes in all it's like what it says, nationwide. It goes all around the country, taking in different bits and pieces of interest. You could see anything on it, and there you did. You saw a Garth Brooks tribute show with a 7-year-old chap, and he stole the show. Fair play to you.
Oh, that was it. That was the first time, as I said, I ever stepped foot on stage. So I was only 7 years of age, and as I said, I just loved it from there on in. Being honest about it, Seamus, went into the studio a couple of years after that, and recorded our first album, a 4-track EP. So it was. I recorded. My dad, he loved like stuff. I tell you, we're brought up on it. We loved like Cliff Richard and stuff like that. That's the kind of music that we were brought up on, you know.
Yeah.
We were also brought up on the American country music, like Johnny Cash, Merle Haggard, Gene Watson. He was a big Gene Watson fan. We met Gene Watson a few times actually, and Vince Gill and stuff like that. So that's the kind of stuff that I was brought up listening to all the time over at home, you know. Like sitting down at night time, we would sit down beside we had a range in the house, and we would sit down at night time, and like he'd put the chair up beside me. He'll have one guitar in his hand, and I'll have one guitar in my hand, and he'd be teaching me the chords of the guitar, you know, and then it got to a stage a couple of months down the road, I started getting better, and I was teaching him. It was vice versa. So it was my turn to keep playing. Then he just sit and watch me. But every show I went to, I tell you, I can say that anybody that knows me and likes would know my dad. Like every show that I went to since that day, since I was 7 years of age, all the shows up to this year, as I said, or not this year, last year, sorry, the end of last year, December and stuff like that, he was there by my side 24/7. You know, anything I did wrong, I tell you, he was the first man to criticise. If I didn't tie my shoelace or anything, he was the first man to criticise me, you know, but good criticism, you know. Like, he would never put me down in anything. But I tell you, he taught me an awful lot. The time, I was grateful for the time that I got with him, because he taught me an awful lot that like, you can live your dream, you know, and you can do what you want to do. You know, you can do whatever you need to do in life. You can live it. All you have to do is believe in yourself, and that's most important.
Well, you see, there's like, as even the like of Elvis discovered, like, I mean, if you're surrounded by yes men, like, you'll never learn anything, and you go downhill very quick. Whereas you do need someone that's going to tell, because it's so easy to believe your own publicity and think, oh yeah, I can do whatever I like, you know, I mean, I'm the man, I can do no wrong. You do need someone that's not afraid to just come up and say, like you say, your laces, tie him up, good man. Or I didn't like the way you did that, or you did something wrong tonight, or whatever, or why weren't you doing, you know. And you do need some sort of constructive criticism like that, not, as you say, to run you down, but just to keep you on the up and to keep you, that's what, as well as you do.
Keep you on the straight and narrow.
Keep you on the straight and narrow, yeah.
Definitely.
And
yeah, he was very good to us. Whatever we needed to do was brilliant to us, you know.
So you were saying anyway that you started off anyway. You did a couple of years after you did your 4-track EP, and where did you go from there, Eddie? What happened after that? Or
yeah, I recorded my first EP, so I did, and then I suppose like got it out to the radio stations as many kind of local and stuff as I could, you know, and got it played. And then once I heard my music played on the radio station, you know, as a young fella, you were delighted, you know, and like people were coming up to you in the street and saying, actually Jimmy Buckley just recorded that Your Wedding Day that time, so you know, when I recorded my first EP. But as I said, I recorded Your Wedding Day, and I recorded a few bits, Hanging On, Proud and Mary, and a song I wrote myself, Losing You, was called. And as I said to you, I recorded that. I think it was around. I was a couple of years after that, maybe 15. I think that I put that EP out. But after that, being honest about it, after that, like I've been so lucky in the music business. You know, I know, like I suppose, like there's a lot of breaks that I can get you, and I'd be looking forward to getting them when they do come. But like for instance, like there's a lot of things that have happened to me, you know, and a lot of people that I met in the music business. You know, I've been grateful to meet them. You know, it is a very, very hard game. There's no point saying it's not. It is. It's a hard game to be in, because at the end of the day, like there's long hours. People don't see that side of it. I don't think they don't see the long hours, and they don't see like traveling up and down the country. They just see you on stage for 2 hours, you know, and that's it. They don't see you maybe 3 or 4 hours. You have to go to the gig, then packing down for 2 hours, and then doing the gig for 2 hours again. You know, they don't see that part of it. But look, as I said, it's something. If you don't enjoy it, there's no point of you doing it. You know, you have to enjoy what you do with the music business. So, as I said, I do enjoy it. I love doing what I do. It's just a pity the way things are gone at the moment, but hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll kick off again soon.
And when then did you put the band? You have the band on the road a couple of years. We had a manager. Okay, we had a manager. The first band I put on the road, I had 2 bands. Right now, the first band, they didn't even get off the road to get on the road, but we were in rehearsal and stuff like that. And we had a manager, and the manager got sick. So he did, and what happened was, being honest about it, we had dates and everything lined up, and the boys in the band just decided, look, we're not gonna go ahead with it, and we'll just wait till the manager, whatever the case may be. So he signed us off to another manager. So he was based in Northern Ireland, so we were kind of more based up there than down here. So we were getting plenty of gigs in the north, but not so many gigs in the south. So we were doing Northern Ireland, England, Scotland, all over that kind of side. So after that, then, to cut a long story short, I stayed there for maybe 2 or 3 years with them, playing with them. We had another album out then. Stay there, and then that man actually, he moved away to America. So he just at the end of the day, he wanted us to go with him. Being honest about it, he had a record deal and everything. But to tell you the truth, I was so used to being home, and that time my dad was sick and stuff. So I stayed at home, you know. So that's where we are at the moment. We have a new management at the moment, so we're on the new management at the moment, and we were just putting the band together. Well, we had them together and everything. We were just getting ready to go on the road with the dates and stuff, and then this coronavirus kicked in, and that was us then. Yeah, so it'll be sort of New Year maybe that before you'll be able to give a big launch. And are you hoping to have a big launch for the band?
Yeah, we were just after starting. So we were just after starting the launch. We had one in Newcastle West, and we had a great night down here in Newcastle West after opening a new hotel here, the Long Court it's called. As I said, we had a great crowd and a great night down here for the launch of the band, and we had a new album out as well. This Is Me, it's called, and we were launching that. Had a great night. Everything was going perfect. We were getting ready to go to the next gig, and then all the gigs were cancelled. They were all taken off. Everything was taken off the road. As I said, look, I know it has to be safety and all this, but as I said, we were fully booked up this year for 2020. We're fully booked up Christmas and everything. We were out like a good bit, you know. So we were looking forward to gigging. We had a full band. There was 5 of us in the band, so there was, and we had road crews, 2 boys, sound engineer and a lighting engineer that set up the gear and stuff as well. So as I said, we were going to be in Cork, Waterford, you name it, we were going to be there, you know. But it will be the new year. It will be the new year. We were in the studio the last couple of weeks putting down a couple of new singles that we're putting out. As I said, we have one single finished. Hopefully it's going to be out to the radio station. It was supposed to be out this week, but there was some problem with the mixing or something. The studio that we're in, there was some problem with the boy that does all the mixing and producing of it, that he wasn't in. So hopefully it's going to be out next week, and that's a little song called Wine into Water. So the minute we get that, we'll send it straight on to you, because I know you give it a good spin for us. So give it a good spin for us. But it is. Look, it's going to be the new year before we're back again. As I said, I think in the new year. Well, so far in the new year, we have a good few gigs lined up for the new year as well. From 2021, we'll be going to the UK. I think we're out in the UK in when are we out in the UK? And March time, I think. March and April, I think we're out in the UK. So we're going over. We're going to do the Rose of Tralee in the UK as well. The Devon Rose, they call. So they pick the Rose of Tralee, and we go over then, and we'll we'll play for that as well. So we have a good few things lined up, you know, for 2021. Fingers crossed, everything going well.
Well, sure. As the fellow says, you have to keep the fingers crossed and keep everything going that way anyway, you know. And sure, who better than an Irishman to go over and pick out a rose? So, and now I was just, you were talking there about writing a few singles of your own. One in particular that I would have a fondness for is one that you wrote a little while back, Murphy's Bar.
Oh, Murphy's Bar, yeah.
Yeah, Murphy's Bar.
Murphy's Bar was funny how that came up, being honest about it. Myself and a friend of mine were heading to the UK. So we were, and there was this lad, we were waiting in the airport, and there was this lad in the airport, and he was playing a fiddle, so he was, and we were talking away for ages, and there was a boy at the bar, and he said, this man has been here for maybe a week or two, you know, he's looking to go to Australia, and I said, he didn't go yet. I said, what, he hadn't got the money for the ticket or whatever? He said, no, he said he's too old, they won't let him into Australia. So I got talking to this lad, and Seamus was his name. Got talking to Seamus, and we were talking away for maybe about half an hour before we boarded on the plane. He started telling me his life story and what he was doing, and he was after leaving the wife and the farm and the whole lot, and his son told him there was great crack in Australia, and he was going to Australia. He'd never been out of Ireland before in his life. So the boy that came with me was Pat. He was a good friend of mine. He was actually the road manager at the time, and we went on the plane, and he kept humming this tune over and over and over again, kept humming this tune. So we went on the plane, and no paper, no nothing to get it. So I asked the flight attendant had she got anything to write it down. So it came into my head anyway. Got a piece of paper and a bit of lipstick and wrote it on to the paper.
I hope it wasn't your own lipstick, was it?
Oh, didn't say it. But got a bit and wrote it onto the paper, and got off the plane. I had the song written when I got off the plane in the UK, but I didn't. I had no last verse to it. So when I came off again, we came back through Shannon again, and we came off. We were over there for the weekend, so we played over there for the weekend. But we came back through Shannon again, and Seamus was still in the same place where we left him. So the end of the song was, we never got too far. We still here in Murphy's Bar. So we were still there. We never went anywhere. And we were trying to get Seamus to do the video that time, the DVD for our song, but unfortunately Seamus passed away. But as I said, we got to sing the song from when we went to the airport, you know. So it was great. It was a great catchy song, you know. It was just great how it happened, you know. Most of my songs, like, being honest about it, like, I don't know how I write them, to tell you the truth. People ask me, oh, can you write this and can you write that? Like, sometimes it just comes into my head and that's it. Like, you get something into your head and you just sit down and write it, and that's how it works, you know. Sometimes I would wake up out of bed maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning with a pen and a piece of paper beside the locker, and just write down what's on my mind. I'd get up the next morning, I'd be wondering what it is, you know. But now I've kind of copped on a small bit now, because I keep the phone beside the bed and just record it into the phone. And it's funny how it comes, because as I said, it comes out with a melody and everything, you know. So the song, like, comes out finished. So it is a gift. It's a gift on its own. That's my opinion of it anyway, you know.
I was just thinking to myself, hopefully you don't leave the lipstick on the side of the locker as well, like, just in case, you know what I mean? I have no pen. well, the only thing about it is that anyone that says, I mean, if you ever got in trouble, you could say, where did that lipstick come out of? Just, I was trying to write down a song. I had a song. And I just happened to have this bit of lipstick here, so I said I'd use the lipstick to write it down.
Yeah, so you use it anyway, yeah. I think they copped on to me by now, that's the only thing. Yeah.
But you mentioned there when you were talking about your father, like that, he was involved with Phil Coulter and all that, with Puppet on a String. Yeah. Yeah, he was in Shepperton Studios, yeah. He used to work in Shepperton Studios, and he was involved a bit in writing and stuff as well, and some of that stuff, as I said. Like, he was well into the music business, you know, when he was in the UK. He worked with a lot of them, being honest with you. He worked with Tom Jones, he worked with Cliff Richard, Sandy Shaw. He worked with a lot of them, you know. He was telling me a story one time. He broke his nose. The horse kicked his nose, and Tom Jones was in the hospital beside him because he got a broken nose too. So the two of them got the plastic noses the same day. So he used to tell that story everywhere he went. Tom Jones and himself were getting a 2-for-1 offer on plastic noses. Yeah, 2-for-1 plastic surgery. No, because I was actually reading Phil Coulter's autobiography recently, and I didn't realise, you know what I mean, there was names being mentioned and all. I didn't realise that the gentleman that was mentioned, I'm nearly sure I remember the Carey name being mentioned in it, but I didn't realise that was, you know, that who was involved, as the fella says, or the connection to yourself, you know, so.
Yeah, he was in Shepperton Studios, and as I said, they were writing that time. They were writing that song for Puppet on the String for Sandy Shaw, you know. And he actually toured with Sandy Shaw for a while. So he did a tour when they came back to Ireland, and they were touring. I think there was a brother as well or something. He was singing as well in the band, and as I said, he was telling us stories there one time. They were over, but we were supposed to go over. Being honest about it, he had some property and stuff left in the UK, and we were supposed to go over to the UK before he passed away. His family was still in the UK, his mum and dad and stuff, and they all passed away, and he was supposed to go over to the graves and stuff, but he was just a bit too sick and he couldn't go on. That was it. But he was going to take us over to Shepperton Studios when he went over, but we didn't get a chance. But hopefully, fingers crossed, when all this is over, I'll give an old spin over myself.
Go over and have a look and see what. Yeah, and it's great. Hopefully, it won't have changed too much. You know what I mean?
No,
you know, the spirit or the atmosphere of the place. You know yourself, some of these places, when they get modern, they lose the little bit of atmosphere or spirit that's there. But it was fascinating. No, it's just when you mentioned that, I just said I'd have to bring you back to that one anyway. You know.
And that's the story he told us. So as I said, we actually met Phil Coulter one time, and I think it was in Dublin or somewhere like that, and like they were talking about that story. Himself and my dad were talking about that. You know, it's just amazing how things came up. You know, but that's the way things are. You know, look, it's different. The music scene is different now these days, because look, everything you have to do, if you believe in yourself and believe in what you want to do, like you have to keep at it. You know, that's most important. Like if anyone's going to give you a break, you'll do it yourself. You know, like my dad always taught me that if anyone is to manage you, who's the best to manage you? Only yourself. You know, because you know what you have to do. You're going to push yourself to the limits that you have to push yourself. You know. And that's most important as a thing. Now, being honest about it, it's very hard to pick out songs and stuff like that for albums and maybe singles for the radios and stuff like that. My dad, like, he was always great to help me with stuff like that. Anything that we were coming up with, like any songs and music, anything, like he was always to give his opinion. Like he'd come in and he'd tell us, "Oh, that'd be good, that'd be not so good," you know. I wouldn't do it that. I wouldn't do it this way. It's too poppy. It's not country, you know. And like he'd be always very good to give his opinion like that. So like as I said, we will miss him being around. Even the boys in the band, I have a good boys in the band around me, being honest about it, and they all got a chance to meet my dad when he was alive, you know. And as I said, like I have good friends in the band, and I think that's most important, you know. Like every time I'm out there now playing and singing, like he's there beside me in spirit. That's the way I look at it, you know. He's there, right there beside me.
Well, you have a very good mentor then. You have a very good mentor. It has to be said, when you have someone like that no matter what happens, they're always there beside you. You can't fail then at that stage, you know.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the way I look at it anyway. But actually, I have a few people after sending in a few messages to say hello to you. Would you believe? There's a Maria from Emerald Isle. She said to say a quick hello to you. She's a great. She says great voice and a great guy and all that. And and Emma Donoghue. She, you know Emma as well. And Maureen Burke, if you wouldn't mind saying hello to Maureen there as well. She's listening in.
How are you getting on, Maureen? Hope you're keeping well.
And Julie Healy, of course, here on the station. You probably know Julie, I think. Julie's very good. So she's great to play the music as well. Fair play to you, Julie. Yeah, I don't think there's too many in the country don't know Julie. You know, she's a very well-known lady. And Margaret Moore up there in Auchnacloy in County Tyrone, she's listening in.
Hi, Margaret.
Yeah, and over the water across the way in Bedford, I have to make sure and get this right because I made the mistake of saying Bradford one night, and Bedford is Michelle Orr. She's listening in. She's a great
Michelle,
listener.
how are you?
Yeah, and she's a great follower of the country music and all that as well. And if you happen to be over there, you were saying about touring over there, hopefully in the new year, she will be probably one of the front row. They're waving up at you. So, and if she happens to say, hello, I'm Michelle, you'll know who it is. And over there in New Brunswick, over there in Canada, is Lev and Gloria Jackman. They're listening in, and they're
hello to you, lad.
Yeah, they're great listeners to the station here as well. And what? Hold on, the old train of thought has just has left the station here, as we say. But when you were talking there, you were saying about the different artists and all that were a kind of an inspiration to you. Like, who would you have if you could emulate one particular artist out there? Like, I mean, I know you were saying there about Tom Jones and all that. Like, I mean, and Cliff Richards and everyone else and Gene Watson. But who would you like to, if you could swap places on a stage with, or who would it be?
I suppose, like, being honest about it, I like a lot of them. Being honest about it, like even Tom Jones. I recorded a couple of Tom Jones songs there. I did Help Yourself, and actually on the album that we're working on at the moment, we have It's Not Unusual on the album as well, and we have another Tom Jones song actually as well on the album. It's called I'll Never Fall in Love Again. So we have two of them. Yeah, I would love to get the opportunity to go and to perform with Tom Jones. You know, like in American country, I like a lot of American. Gene Watson, as I said, I had the pleasure of meeting Gene Watson a few times. You know, I love to do maybe with Gene Watson, and again Vince Gill. A lot of people actually say when they hear me singing, you know, I have kind of a high pitched voice, and they say I sound a lot like Vince Gill when I do sing some of his stuff. You know, so like any of the three of them, being honest about it.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't be going too far wrong if you're mentioning any of those anyway, of course. Yeah, and when you say I'll Never Fall in Love Again, is, now you see, maybe I'm getting it wrong, is that what do you get when you fall in love? That one?
No,
it's not.
I know
David
that one.
Bacharach, no.
Yeah. This is a song Tom Jones recorded it going back, must have been, Jesus, it was a Lonnie Donegan song actually. Lonnie Donegan wrote it.
Yeah.
So he wrote it, so he did, but as I said to you, my dad actually picked that song out before. He picked 3 songs out before he passed away. That was one of them. In another song was called It's Just an Illusion. So we have that recorded, we've been 2 recorded. And then there was one of the songs that I actually wrote myself. I have a quick step coming out in a couple of weeks that I wrote myself. And that should be out. It should be out. I think it's the 3rd single we have coming out under the new management team. As I said, they have the singles kind of lined up, which way they're going to come out over the next couple of months. You know, I think that's going to be our 3rd single. So, as I said to you, we're looking forward. Being honest, number one, we're looking forward to getting out to the radio stations again and letting people hear us again. You know, because we do a live on. Well, I do a live on Facebook every couple of months. You know, or every couple of weeks, and as I said to you, we run competitions on our Facebook page and we're on Instagram, and we have all the Moncons now, as the man said, but we do that we have people coming in every second night to us, like, and they be saying, oh, what's coming up next? I didn't hear you on the radio in a while, or if they heard us on the radio, they're telling us what songs they heard and stuff like that, you know. And it's great to keep involved with your listeners. That's very important, as you know yourself, you know, like, because at the end of the day, we would see people out when we're gigging around the place, you know, and we would see people out in the venues, you know, that we wouldn't see when we're in lockdown. We couldn't see them, you know. So as I said to you, it's great. It's great that we can still communicate with people now, because at the end of the day, without Facebook and without Instagram and stuff like that, we'd be lost without it, you know. And of course, number one and the biggest thing is our radio stations. That's massive. And without people like you on the radio stations, like, there wouldn't be any country music and there wouldn't be anything, and we wouldn't even have an interview tonight. So fair play to you and keep up the good work, lads.
Oh, thank you very much. Like, that is actually the reason that we started to do the little chats on the Tuesday night, you know, sorry, as we call it, the fireside chat, was to keep the artist in the mind's eye, or, you know, just so that people you know, it's just to keep you there, like, so the people are still talking about the different artists and all that, like, I mean, so that's part of it. And thanks very much for the well, for your thanks, as the fellow says, you know, and we appreciate it as well. By the way, I actually have Sabrina is celebrating her birthday this weekend, and Laura has just sent in a quick hello there, and I wonder, would you say a quick happy birthday there to Sabrina, who's listening in?
Of course I can. Happy birthday, Sabrina, and I hope you have a good day, and hopefully we'll see you when we come back on the road very soon.
And Tom McCracken is actually listening in there as well. If you wouldn't mind saying a quick hello there to Tom.
Come on. Hello, Tom. Hope you keep him well.
But I tell you, I'm going to let you loose there anyway, and I'll let you get the lipstick out there and start writing another couple of songs. That's going to be imprinted in my mind for a long time to come. You see, you never said where the lipstick came from, or was it one of the stewardesses that happened to have it?
Yeah, she was the one that had it, and she flipped it out, so that was the end of that. Lipstick on my collar, that's the next one.
Yeah, lipstick on my notepad. But thanks a million for dropping by and taking the call anyway, Eddie. It was great to have you on, and one of the best voices in the country and on the country scene is Mr. Eddie Carey, and thanks a million for dropping by, Eddie, and yeah.
No problem. Anytime, and listen, thanks very much for all your listeners as well for requesting my music, and as I said, my new single will be out very, very soon, so we'll hopefully next week, fingers crossed, Wine into Water, so hope all your listeners can request it, and I know you'll do a good job of giving it a spin, and thanks very much for having me on for the interview tonight, and hopefully we won't be too long before we see you again.
Hopefully, and of course, when you have the big launch back on again, give us a shout, and sure, you'll come back on maybe and we'll have another chat.
We will indeed.
Perfect. Thanks a million, Eddie. That's Eddie Carey there. Thank you very much. And here's the song we were talking about earlier on, Murphy's Bar, the one with the lipstick. Oh yeah.
Bringing you the best in country and Irish music. This is your station, irishcountrymusicradio.com.